Hello, folks. The old Lancy here again. I think I'm going to have to call this episode Perspiration and Inspiration. Wow. Another one of those hot Easter days in April. But we're going to get by. I don't have my regular star with me, my good friend Lulu. She went off to the hills with Lyndon and the kids. So I'm left alone. And you'll wonder, well, what kind of inspiration this is going to be? Well, let's talk about the perspiration first. There were a couple of things that I had to do that she assigned me to do quietly, nicely, like do the dishes, hang out some clothes, pick up some sheets, sweep out somewhere, over there and over here. Did I grudge? Would I grudge such chores? Well, I can't. To tell you the truth, yesterday was our 52nd wedding anniversary. And if you're married that long, you get to know your partner well enough. If you haven't reached the 40s yet, you must plod on so that you know you will have a happy married life. It's a give and take situation, and some people like to give more than take. They give hard words, they give threatening gestures, but we don't have to do that. We just try to understand each other and to let the Lord work things out amicably, honorably. They say marriage is honorable, and we have been proven that marriage is a very honorable thing. And we believe that Louise and I, we have passed on to our children, who will pass on to their children, values that we hold dear to ourselves. And also that what we do goes not only for the home, but it goes towards the community also. So that is a little bit of the perspiration side of life, but it wouldn't kill me. It wouldn't kill me. I remember somebody saying, that I set such high values on marriage that it's tough for him, and he's talking from way across the seas, way up north. But the truth is, that you have to set yourself values. You have to have your humor. You read together. You laugh together. You enjoy going out together. And you let your marriage be a sound one. So that's the perspiration. The inspiration is that Louise always inspires me to be positive. I wish you were here with me in this little episode. I want to corner at the moment, but I'll have to try it and go it alone. On Monday, we went to a place called Tamana. The history of Tamana, of course, is dear to me because my dad, his father lived in Tamana. And when I saw some of the folks on Easter Monday in Tamana, they recognized the resemblance immediately. Of course, we were invited to what you will call the Tamana Achievement Day for the elderlies, which is quite a wonderful thing. That a community wants to celebrate in major ways the advancements of those in the community. And it was a pleasure to see these elderlies receive their awards. It was a very, very wonderful presentation by the Tamana group that incorporated other areas around. So we have done some episodes which we hope to produce. There might be about 8 of them. I don't have the talent like other people to put things together, but I prefer the little segments that you could dwell on them, even as we did in Tobago. So hopefully in the coming days we will highlight some of these little portions of that achievement day. Now, having said that about my grandfather being a resident of Tamana, I believe my grandfather came from Venezuela. Someone was asking about my roots, and that Luis always speaks of Icacos. Okay, so my grandfather, apparently the ancestors came from Venezuela, and one brother went to St. Joseph, and that's where you have a lot of Lopez up there, and one went to Tamana. And out of that destination, when my grandfather was born there. But my granny, she married a man later on in Arima, and his name was Batiste. I believe him to be a cobbler. I never heard anything about him. So some children are not destined to know too much about their roots. But over the years, we should have been a little more acquainted with family. And that's something I really regret. I really regret not knowing enough about my uncles and my aunts and my grandfather and grandmother. Some of them I do know lived in Port of Spain, my aunts, my cousins rather. No, I should say my aunts really. Some worked at Miller's stores, where my dad was attached to the hardware department. Well, I knew some of them, but I didn't know too much about my mother's side. Regrettably so. When I married Louise, of course, there were one or two occasions we did meet, but it wasn't with a familiar, there wasn't a familiar tone to the meeting. And I would encourage, as much as possible, avoid these squabbles, the foolish things that happen in family life, and try to get your kids to know their family. Put aside the grudges and someone said put aside the grudge and the malice and the guile, and get to know, because children now are going to try to get this, what is familiarly known as the family tree. And that takes a lot of effort to pick up. You have to go and do DNA tests and all kinds of things like that. You don't really need that. All you need to do is to carry your kids to see your family and to be mature enough to say, okay, the past is forgiven and forgotten. Let's move on. So when we were invited by one Wilma White of Brazil Village, I really appreciate that lady. She came here to our home. She wanted to see for herself whether Louise and I were stage acting. She wanted to see for herself, so she came to purchase one of my books, and she declared, I had to come to see whether you people are real. Well, I don't think we disappointed her. So she extended an invitation to us, Louise and I, and even to Lyndon, but who had to go to Farmer Harry's up in Cora there on a hike. She extended this invitation that we come to Tamana. And I grabbed the opportunity because I wanted to meet some of my people. And I did meet Earl. And unfortunately, I didn't meet Andy Priscilla, but I met Earl. I was hoping to meet others like Terrence and maybe Joe, I think it is, Antonio. I may have gotten it. I know Ralphie has died. But anyway, I did meet some of the folks who felt that, hey, he must have Tamana roots. And they would hopefully appear in some of the videos that we took of certain segments of the achievement day for the elderlies. But it was quite, even so, I treasure meeting these folks in Tamana. It was a long ride from Trin City to Tamana. It should have taken, perhaps, according to a Google estimate, 1 hour and 8 minutes. But the road being what it is, needing repair and whatnot, It took us quite a while, longer than 1 hour and 8 minutes. But it was a treasure getting there, seeing the place beautifully prepared for the elderly, the tables well laid out. I met a lady called Brenda who was instrumental in having this a part of this Tamana Achievement Day. And later on, I would meet Rhonda Allison, and I saw some wonderful elderlies receiving their awards. It was quite touching, quite touching indeed. So it would be nice that other communities could, honor the elderly in their midst. I think it was a great thing that happened. I never knew really and truly much about Tamana, but I kind of did a little background, and it says that Tamana is famous for the caves of the bats. Tamana is located on the northern slope of Mount Tamana. Oh, sorry, the caves are located on the northern slope of Mount Tamana in eastern Trinidad. Mount Tamana is a limestone, 307-meter flat-topped hill of the Tamana Formation in the eastern Central Range. They say the Tamana caves are home to large colonies of bats. The name Tamana in the Indian origin means one who is desired. Tamana is supposedly a girl name, one who is desired. Well, the amount of people I have seen who live in Tamana and travel perhaps through Sangre Grande, and they travel through Brazil and Talparo, San Rafael onto the Turtle Roosevelt Highway, they must love Tamana. Tamana must be highly desired, because I tell you, it can be quite a trip. A Google explanation also says that people with the name Tamana are usually Hindu by religion, and there are Indians living in Tamana, and I like the atmosphere of camaraderie that I witness. It's important that we uphold these things, these values in our communities. Well, I wasn't disappointed either, because the slogan for the Tamana Achievement Day is "I love Tamana." I love Tamana. We stand united. So when Louise and we were leaving, our friend Wilma presented me with this. I was grateful for it. I hope I didn't deprive anyone of getting something like this. And to tell you the truth, she gave me this. How do I look? I think I look smart enough. Remember, I carry the Tamana brand. And this also is quite a lovely gift. It also says, Tamana, we stand united. Isn't that beautiful? In this day and age, when people have so much discord and distress, that people could stand united, I think it's a great message. A great message. It's one of those little push clip things. I guess you know it. Maybe good for coffee. And apart from which, there's a neat little bag, isn't it? Louise was looking for a bag this morning that she could take with her. And she was trying to get this bag, and I said to her, no. I got to do something with this bag. So please. Okay. So in this goes, and I want to thank Wilma again and her husband Steve. We visited their home on the way out of Tamana, and it was quite a nice visit. One thing about country folk, when you go to their place, you feel very welcome. I'm not saying that city life is different, but it can be. I don't know whether the influence of the big countries are filtering in that people must call when they're coming, but in the countryside, our home in Cora there was always open. Mother always had a home open. People could come into Cora, they want to park their car before they go to the river, and before they leave, Mother might be offering them a glass of lemon juice or something. And she always cooked extra. Always cooked extra. Nobody could say they come to the home and they couldn't get a meal. And I'm glad that Louise has the same tendency to cook extra. And if you drop in, for instance, if you drop in here, well, right now she's not home, so I hope nobody comes. Otherwise it's going to be bread and cheese. And even so, we got much bread either. So, but always in the country you could get a little meal going. Isn't that wonderful? A wonderful thing, you know. So I want to, in the coming days, put up these little segments of what happened in Tamana that day. Louise has to get the credit for most of the viewing, the videotaping. I am glad that she's extending herself beyond just, you know, sitting next to me, but that she's now holding this thing and trying to get this lined up and capturing moments. I am very happy that she's doing that. Very, very happy. So this is about perspiration and inspiration. Also, Lyndon brought this book from the library for me. And it talks here about a free prize inside. That people like things, really. If you have to give people something extra, they gravitate towards it. We are thinking about putting out something soon. I don't want to give away too much because, you know, if you give away too much, it spoils the surprise. But we would like to really give something. It says here free. But to be able to give something, it's going to cost us something. So I hope that when we are through, if we are successful in what we want to do, and we want to present you, especially those who have had long marriages, we are aiming at that. There might be a little cost attached. We'll have to give you a little more information about that later on. If it doesn't work well, we will just have to keep whatever we have in our minds. But it is all to promote a relationship between husbands and wives. So we hope that we would get a good price, and that it will help in the fostering of better relationships. So thank you, and I hope in coming days, at least there are 8 segments of that Tamana extravaganza, if you want to call it that. There are 8 segments to it, and if we could produce, let's say, 2 a day, or maybe 3 a day, by the weekend here we should have covered everything. Some of them are pretty short, 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Some are a little more than 10 minutes. But it's just a matter of, you know, seeing what our community has done. So I look forward to Louis coming home. There's no eating right now on this channel because there's nothing to eat. And if I were eating, I'm sure some of my good friends out there would say, you might choke. So let's end here at this point and let's see what happens as we continue. Thank you very much.